What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nerdy Mark channel. I'm Sid the Nerdy Mark, and today I have your review for Raw and SmackDown for this week. So, Raw does come to us from Buffalo, New York, and it starts with Kurt Angle, the general manager, coming out and reiterating what he said at Extreme Rules, that if Brock Lesnar cannot come to terms with his next title defense, he is stripping Brock of the title. Paul Heyman interrupts and says that Brock wants to defend the Universal title at the UFC match when he's challenging for the UFC heavyweight title. Kurt Angle takes exception to this and says, no, you can't do that. Paul Heyman finally comes to terms and says that Brock Lesnar will be at SummerSlam defending his title, but who will be his opponent? Out comes Bobby Lashley to stake his claim, saying that he beat Roman Reigns last night and so that he deserves a chance to be in the Universal title picture. Elias comes out, for some reason wants to win the Universal title. Seth Rollins comes out, says he should win the Universal title. Finn Balor comes out, I was the first ever Universal champion. His whole argument, you all know what it is. Drew McIntyre, who said that the first phase of the plan was to keep the Intercontinental title on Dolph Ziggler, and now phase 2 is going to be him winning the Universal Championship. Finally, guess who comes out? Roman Reigns, and says he has no excuse for last night and that he doesn't care about Brock Lesnar and he just wants a fight, which makes no sense because your narrative all this time has been that you're the uncrowned Universal Champion, Roman. What are you talking about? Kurt Angle does book 2 triple threat matches, the first of which happens right now. So the first triple threat match is Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor. And this was a very good match. I enjoyed every single thing about it. I especially like Roman and Drew going at it. I love seeing these two going at it because I feel that they are very compatible in the ring. I am looking forward to a singles match between Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. I think that would be fantastic. The match did end when Drew hit Finn with a Claymore, and Roman takes advantage, hits the spear, and wins the match. So he, next week, is going to face the winner of the next triple threat, which is happening in the main event. So it looks like Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre are pretty much going their separate ways. I guess they had like a mutual agreement to split and kind of do their own thing, which is okay with me, but it's kind of weird because when they first came in, they threatened the entire tag team division. So I find it interesting that now they are split. But anyway, Dolph Ziggler does come out to the ring, celebrates his win over Seth Rollins at Extreme Rules. Bobby Roode comes out and says that he wants to challenge for the Intercontinental title because we forgot that they had a very lackluster feud last year. But Dolph Ziggler does accept his challenge, although he says it's not going to be for the Intercontinental title. We're just going to have a non-title match. And it was really good. I enjoyed it. But, of course, Dolph Ziggler did win. So where does Bobby Roode go from here? And where does Dolph Ziggler go from here? I guess we'll find out next week. We then had Mojo Rawley taking on Tyler Breeze, one half of Fashion Police, with, of course, Fandango having a successful surgery. So now he is recovering, so speedy recovery to Fandango. This was a pretty okay match. I didn't really care much about it. It's whatever. Mojo Rawley won. That's all there is to it. I don't really know what else you want me to say. So I don't know what their plans are for Mojo. Well, they did tease a feud between him and Bobby Roode, so that should be cool. So earlier on, we did have Bayley and Kurt Angle meet up. Kurt Angle asks Bayley how the counseling session went. She says it went horrible, as it is evidenced by the last 2 weeks. Kurt Angle says, okay, I'm going to give you guys one last chance to mend your friendship. Seriously, why is Kurt Angle so invested in their friendship? It's literally like Sasha and Bayley's friendship is like the biggest commodity in the stock market, and Kurt Angle has bought like 100 shares. He does say that that Sasha and Bayley are going to team up to take on Alicia Fox and Dana Brooke, and if they lose, one of them is being drafted to SmackDown. Makes perfect sense, I guess. This match does happen, and it's a decent match. It's alright, but it did end when Sasha Banks attacked both Dana and Alicia outside the ring, so the match was pretty much thrown out. Later on, Bayley and Sasha meet up, and Sasha does agree that she still loves Bayley and that she always did, and she, I guess, kind of still wants to be her friend. I just don't care anymore. We then had the B team, the new Raw Tag Team Champions, take on the Ascension, and this was pretty much a squash. There was really not much to it. B team does win. On the Titantron, we do see Woken Matt and Bray Wyatt, and they basically invoke their rematch clause for next week. Up next, Alexa Bliss and Mickie James make their way into the ring and they talk about Extreme Rules and Nia Jax. They talk about Ronda Rousey and how she is still suspended. We do have Ronda Rousey a la Shield coming out through the crowd. Looks like she's auditioning to be the 4th member. Well, then again, Dean Ambrose is still injured until September, so I guess she could replace him for some time. Alexa tries to run away, but Ronda catches up to her, starts beating her up, puts her in an armbar. Kurt Angle comes out and he says, look, go home. You still have 2 days left on your suspension. Just wait it out. Baron Corbin comes out and he says, look, Kurt, you need to put your foot down. You can't do this. So Kurt Angle says, fine, I'm going to dock 1 more week onto your suspension. Great call, Kurt. Really just putting your foot down right there. After she attacked Alexa Bliss during her celebration and jumped the barricade to get involved in her match at Extreme Rules, you punish her by giving 1 more week on her suspension. That's right, that'll teach her. Baron Corbin shares the same sentiments. He's like, what the hell, Kurt? I'm going to call Stephanie McMahon. He's looking for his phone and he goes to the back to get it. Kurt Angle apparently pickpocketed his phone. You slide devil, you. And he says that, Ronda, you still have a week on your suspension, but once you come back at SummerSlam, you and Alexa are going to face off for the Raw Women's Championship. What a great way to punish Ronda by giving her a match against Alexa Bliss for the title. Good job, Kurt. We now have the Authors of Pain taking on Titus Worldwide again. And long story short, it is a squash match in which the Authors of Pain win. I do not know why we are not inserting these guys in the Raw Tag Team title picture. They absolutely deserve it. They were amazing in NXT. Can we, for once, not ruin this NXT call-up? Because you know what? They deserve a lot more than what they're getting right now. Up next, we did have Sarah Logan taking on Ember Moon since Liv Morgan couldn't get the job done the past couple of weeks. But this was a really good match. This was the match I was really looking forward to. Very fun match, really good stuff. And it did give Sarah Logan her first singles win on the main roster, so that was good. So I'm enjoying this. However, I'm not sure where either party goes from here. However, I do have an idea for the Riot Squad, which I will talk about after I do my SmackDown review. It is now time for our main event, our second triple threat match of the night. Bobby Lashley taking on Elias versus Seth Rollins. This was also a very awesome match. I enjoyed every single bit of it. By the way, did you notice that both matches had 2 big bearded men in them? Just saying. It was good. It was pretty fun, but it did end with Lashley hitting the spear onto Elias to win. So we get Roman versus Bobby Part 2, which is exactly what everybody wanted, didn't they? Their match at Extreme Rules, like I said, was much better than it should have been, but doesn't mean that I want to see this again so soon. Let's keep them apart for a while, and then after some time, if you want to do it again on an episode of Raw, that's fine. But I don't know why we're doing it so soon. It just makes no sense to me. But either way, Bobby and Roman are going to face off next week. I am so excited. So, SmackDown Live does come to us from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and it starts off with Jeff Hardy coming out and cutting a interesting promo. He says that he looks like Jeff Hardy and he talks like Jeff Hardy and he paints his face like Jeff Hardy, but he doesn't feel like Jeff Hardy, especially not without the U.S. title. He drops some references to the Broken Universe, so it looks like we might be getting Brother Nero very soon. He then says that he wants to take the U.S. title away from Shinsuke Nakamura, and he wants to make Nakamura fade away and classify himself as obsolete. If they're going the Brother Nero route, I'm actually excited to see it, because in the original, Brother Nero was always in the shadow of Broken Matt Hardy. So I'm interested to see how Brother Nero kind of fends for himself in a singles capacity. So if they're going this route, I'm really excited. We did have a very short promo from Shinsuke Nakamura as his rebuttal. He says that Jeff Hardy is a sad clown and he's going to make him cry. God bless America. We then had our first match of the night, AJ Styles versus Andrade Cien Almas. Wow. What an upgrade from Sin Cara. AJ Styles opening up the show. This was very interesting. This was, as I expected, a really, really good match. You should go watch this one. I don't want to say anything else, except for the fact that it did end when, of course, Almas did hit the knees a couple of times, and AJ kicked out of both. Almas went for the hammerlock DDT, which AJ Styles converted into a calf crusher. Almas taps, AJ wins, and they have a quick little stare down before Almas goes towards the back. So looks like Andrade is staking his claim for the WWE Championship, and I am very excited. We did also have Aiden English going up to Lana and apologizing for his stunt at Extreme Rules, which I forgot to mention in my review, but Aiden English did take off the padding from the top turnbuckle, which of course did backfire. He of course feels responsible. Lana, with her going in, going out Russian accent, says that Rusev is very angry right now and that she needs to find out if you're the best thing for Rusev. Aiden English does say that, I've had Rusev's back from the beginning. I just need a second chance. And she says, I'll think about it. So it does look like we're separating Rusev Day. Our next match is, of course, Becky Lynch versus Mandy Rose in a very good match. Both women bring it. I don't know what else you want me to say. Corey Graves continues to drool over Mandy Rose as usual, but it did end when Becky Lynch hit the disarm her onto Mandy, and she taps pretty much instantaneously. Then Becky Lynch cuts a promo on Carmella saying that she's basically coming for her. Then Paycheck is watching all this backstage with Carmella, and she says that next week Carmella and Becky will face off in a non-title match. If Becky wins, she will face Carmella at SummerSlam. So I'm really excited for this match because I think we need to push Becky to the moon and back. So last week in a WWE exclusive, while Ty Dillinger was making his entrance, Samoa Joe had attacked Ty Dillinger. So Ty and R-Truth kind of lobbied for this match, and Samoa Joe versus Ty Dillinger, which for all intents and purposes was pretty much a squash match. Samoa Joe basically hitting the coquina clutch, and Ty pretty much tapping to it. Where does either people go from here? I think Samoa Joe is rumored to be AJ's next opponent, which should be really good. I'm really excited about that. And Ty Dillinger, I don't know, just go hang out with R-Truth, I guess. Next up, The Miz has a funeral for Team Hell No after what happened at Extreme Rules, and this was good stuff. It was a great setup. We had some indie talent dressing up as pallbearers, Kane's mask on a mannequin, like a face mannequin. Then, of course, The Miz gets to run down everything that happened. Miz and Mrs. premiering July 24th, right after my birthday, may I add. Talking about how he helped with the softball game. The Miz does say, I told you so, and that Kane is a beat, broken down demon. And since Daniel Bryan has returned, he really hasn't done much, which is true, actually. Daniel Bryan takes exception to this. He comes out and he attacks The Miz. The pallbearers come in. He attacks the pallbearers, and Miz escapes. So it looks like we are getting Miz versus Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. Finally! Up next, Eric Young taking on Kofi Kingston. And this was a really good match. One spot I do want to talk about, when All of Sanity and Xavier and Big E are all outside and they're kind of arguing. The referee is on the ropes and he's telling Eric Young to get back in the ring. Kofi runs and jumps over the referee and hits a suicide dive on All of Sanity and the New Day. That looked really awesome. The match did end when Eric Young hit his finisher onto Kofi Kingston to win the match. So we got 2 Sanity wins in a row over the New Day. I hope they have another feud coming up soon. And honestly, just put them in the title picture for all I care. Just do that. That's what I want to see happen. It is now time for our main event. Jeff Hardy versus the United States Champion Shinsuke Nakamura in a very good match. I liked all of this. Jeff is visibly hurt. He has been limping quite a bit. Apparently he has some back problems, some leg problems, obviously. Maybe this match was a way to kind of write him off. It was going really well, but Jeff did all of his high-flying stuff. He did his Whisper in the Wind, he hit the Twist of Fate, goes up for the Swanton Bomb, and he's about to win when Randy Orton comes in and breaks it up, giving Jeff Hardy the DQ win, but Nakamura still retains the championship. Then Randy Orton goes on to viciously beat up on Jeff Hardy, asking him, do you know why I'm doing this? Do you know why I'm doing this? You're going to find out real soon. And, Jeff Hardy is still screaming in pain. He gets a few licks in, but then ultimately he does succumb to the Viper. And Nakamura all this time is looking very scared, and he's just looking on. He's like, what the hell is going on here? Randy Orton does at one point even put his finger inside Jeff's ear space, his earlobe, and pulls at it. That looks so that looked painful. My God, it looked excruciating. I was wincing while seeing that. So Randy Orton is officially a heel, and this should be good. So I think we're finally making Randy Orton interesting again. I'm interested to see where this goes. If this was just a write-off Jeff Hardy, that would be cool. Then he can actually come back, maybe as Brother Nero. I would be excited to see that. So before we get into my highlights and everything, the fantasy booking angle that I wanted to talk about today does concern Riot Squad and Sasha Banks. Here's what I want to happen. I would like Bayley and Liv Morgan to be having a match. Bayley should win that match. And Sarah Logan comes in, Liv Morgan, they both beating up on Bayley. Sasha Banks is still wearing her jacket. She comes in, she looks like she's going to save Bayley, but she takes off her jacket to reveal a Riot Squad t-shirt, and then all three of them beat up on Bayley. Ruby Riott, of course, as you know, is gone with injury, so Sasha Banks is now the de facto leader of Riot Squad, which I will have her redub it as the Boss Squad. I would have her even dye her hair black and wear black lipstick, kind of like Ruby Riott, and I would actually even have her kind of almost abuse Liv and Sarah a little bit more because she's so drunk with power. Ruby Riott then come back. These two are in a feud. Sarah and Liv are torn between who they should be supporting. But in the end, I would have in that match have Sarah and Liv take the side of Ruby once again. Completely admonish Sasha Banks from the Riot Squad, or of course the Boss Squad. They become the Riot Squad again. Sasha Banks should continue the whole Boss Squad thing and make her like a delusional, drunk with power heel, and I would just love to see that. And then finally have that match with Bayley. That's how I think we need to book Sasha and the Riot Squad at this point. Since they're kind of both going nowhere, I just said let's combine the two. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you guys think about that angle. So overall, I did think that SmackDown was a lot better this week than Raw by a long shot. Let's get into some highlights. I did definitely like both triple threat matches. Roman, Drew, and Finn, their triple threat match. Lashley, Rollins, and Elias. Ember Moon versus Sarah Logan was another really good match. It was everything that I wanted it to be between these two. Good stuff. Dolph Ziggler versus Bobby Roode. That was also a fun match. That was good stuff. Everything going on with Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey. I mean, some of it doesn't make sense, but it's still entertaining. As far as SmackDown is concerned, the promo with Jeff Hardy was good because it is hinting towards Brother Nero, as I mentioned. I, of course, really enjoyed Almas versus AJ Styles. A fantastic match. Again, go check this match out. Becky Lynch versus Mandy Rose was good. Becky is coming for Carmella. And, of course, the main event with Nakamura and Jeff Hardy. Along with that, Randy Orton becoming interesting again, aka turning heel again. So, those are my thoughts on Raw and SmackDown for this week. Let me know what you guys thought about both shows in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media, and tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Sid, signing off. You guys take care. Bye-bye.